You weren't ignored. You weren't abused. You had a home, food, structure. From the outside, everything looked fine. But inside, something was missing. No one asked how you felt. No one really noticed when you were hurting. No one sat with you in your emotions, long enough for them to make sense. So you learned something quietly. Your feelings don't matter that much. And the strange part is, you don't even call it trauma. You just call it normal. Maybe you grew up in a house where things were functional. Bills were paid, rules were clear, there was discipline, maybe even care. But conversations never went deeper than surface level. How was school? Fine. Good. And that was it. No follow-up, no curiosity, no emotional space. Or maybe your parents were always busy, working, stressing, surviving, physically present, but emotionally somewhere else. You could sit right next to them and still feel alone. So when something upset you, you didn't go to them. Not because you didn't want to, but because, somehow, it didn't feel like an option. Pause for a second. Think about this honestly. When you were a kid, who did you go to when something hurt you emotionally? And if the answer is no one, just notice how that feels. Here's what most people miss. Emotional absence doesn't look dramatic. There's no obvious moment you can point to and say, that's when everything broke. It's subtle. It's quiet. It's what didn't happen. No one helping you understand your feelings. No one validating them. No one saying, that makes sense. So your mind did what it had to do. It adapted. You started handling things on your own. You stopped expressing certain emotions. You learned to stay easy, to not create problems, to not be too much. And over time, you got really good at it. You became independent, low maintenance, emotionally self-contained. From the outside, that looks like strength. But inside, something else was forming. A quiet disconnection, not just from others, but from yourself. Because when no one responds to your emotions, you slowly stop listening to them too. You start questioning what you feel, minimizing it, pushing it aside. You might say things like, it's not a big deal. I'm probably overreacting. I'll just deal with it. But here's the truth. You weren't overreacting. You were just never taught how to process what you feel. And that shows up later, in ways that are easy to miss. You struggle to open up, even with people you trust. Not because you don't want to, but because you don't know how. You feel uncomfortable with emotional closeness. When someone gets too close, something in you pulls back. Or maybe you do the opposite. You crave deep connection, but feel anxious the moment you get it, like you're waiting for it to disappear. You overthink your emotions. You analyze them instead of feeling them. You try to make sense of everything because no one ever helped you sit with it. Pause again. Ask yourself this. When you feel something intense, do you allow yourself to feel it? Or do you immediately try to control it, fix it, or hide it? That pattern didn't come from nowhere. When you were younger, emotions might have felt inconvenient, or ignored, or misunderstood. So your brain created a simple strategy. Don't rely on others for emotional support. Handle it yourself. And it worked. It protected you from disappointment, from feeling unseen. But now, it's doing something else. It's keeping you at a distance. From people, from connection, from being fully known. Because real connection requires something you weren't taught. Emotional openness. And that feels risky, because a part of you still expects that no one will meet you there. So instead, you stay controlled, composed, careful. You share just enough, but never everything. And people see you as strong, but they don't always see the part of you that feels alone in it. Here's the part that hurts the most. You might not even realize what you're missing, because you never had it. You might think this is just your personality. That's just how I am. I'm not very emotional. I like being independent. But what if that's not entirely true? What if some of that is something you had to become? There's a difference, a big one. One is who you are. The other is what you adapted to. And when those two get mixed together, you start building your identity around survival patterns. Let's pause again. Ask yourself this honestly. Do you struggle to express your emotions because it feels unnatural, or because it never felt safe to do so? Because that question can change how you see yourself. This isn't about blaming your parents. They might have done their best. They might have given you everything they knew how to give. But emotional absence isn't always about intention. It's about impact. And the impact is this. You learned to live without emotional support, which means now you have to learn something new. How to reconnect. Not all at once, not perfectly, but slowly, gently. Start by noticing your feelings without judging them. Let yourself feel something without immediately trying to fix it. Share a small piece of what's going on inside you with someone you trust, even if your voice shakes, even if it feels unfamiliar. Because emotional connection isn't something you either have or don't, it's something you learn. And you're allowed to learn it now. You're allowed to feel deeply without thinking it's too much. You're allowed to need people without seeing it as a weakness. You're allowed to be seen in ways you never were before. Because that missing piece, it didn't disappear. It's still there, waiting. Not for someone else to suddenly fix it, but for you to slowly give yourself what you didn't receive back then. And maybe for the first time, not just be strong, but be understood.